Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're discussing the return of the popular manga series turned anime, Saint Seiya.
While this new reboot doesn't come out until the summer of this year, we've already seen the Lost Canvas series on Netflix. And we're very surprised at the news of a reboot for this show. We just didn't expect so much change for the show.
Yeah. And this version is based off the original 80s one. So they're kind of going... Netflix is going on with this trend of rebooting all these classic 80s shows and anime and then redoing them in their own format.
Right.
Thing is, with each company that does it, they have their own twist on it. Netflix just orders it. And they can actually, tell the company like how they want or how many episodes. And... When we watched the Lost Canvas series on Netflix, we had seen like this art coming up on Tumblr for it.
Lots of beautiful fan art. Oh my gosh. And was like, okay, I really want to see this series.
Right.
If they've put this much effort into this show and making all this beautiful art, and from what we understand, it had been off for decades.
You're right.
Then we really wanted to see it.
Right.
And that's what motivated us to watch this series.
Right. And we were really surprised on how well done it was in the world building, the storytelling, the setting,
the art,
and the fantasy,
backstory.
Right. And it was in lots of action too. A lot
Sissy
of
Foos.
Right. A lot of dialogue, but some of the dialogue I just thought was hilarious.
Yeah, I loved it. Every time that he would say that name, it just made us laugh. It was the way he said it, the pronunciation.
Right.
So
and when it would say the name of Athena, right?
Right.
And she was known to the guy as a different name, and he said, "Hope she's all right." And then the other guy was a knight. He would hit him across the head and say, "That's not your name, you idiot!" And she's like, "Are you really gonna do this right now?" And the whole atmosphere changed.
Right.
And, oh gosh.
Okay, so on to the reboot. As you said, this was such a great version that we saw. And we haven't seen the 80s version, but now we really want to see it, and we'll probably end up buying it so we can watch it.
Right.
But even without seeing the 80s version, just seeing the trailer and reading about the changes left us going, what the
fish?
Yeah.
Yeah. And many fans were clearly upset that a show they love so much gets rebooted, and then it's like on a whole nother show.
Exactly.
I mean, the basic concept is kind of there still, but you can tell there's a bunch of changes. Of course, in the animation, they didn't keep it 2D. They decided to do like a little 3D format.
Right.
And then
it's obvious from the costumes and the big hair that this is an 80s version.
Right.
So that was evident as well.
Right. They changed a lot of the characters, and the biggest controversy of all was the change of Andromeda Shun, who is now a female in this version, just for the actual sole purpose of having a girl on a team of knights, when in the original, the women were never knights, and when they were training, they would wear these masks. So they clearly just threw that out the window just for the sake of being different.
And then when we watch The Lost Canvas, what doesn't make sense to me is the women that did appear were very powerful and had major roles, like the one who was in the other realm, who was leading them to help them.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I don't remember her name. And Athena, I mean, she was the major one. She was the one everyone was doing the fighting over to protect her. She was so powerful, she could put the little flower bracelets on her friends and protect them from zillions of miles away. And she could transport herself to protect them. So it wasn't that the women were put in a negative fashion, or they were shown as weak or helpless.
No,
or anything.
never.
So why do you think that a male needs to be changed to a female? Because this male character was sensitive.
Yeah, like what? And the director of Netflix, Eugene Son, had talked about it on Twitter, and people were asking why was it changed, and he pretty much made it clear is because when he watched it, there were no female knights. All the women like had other roles, and they could fight. They clearly they could fight, but none of them were nice, and like that bothered him. So instead of, and it was gonna take too much work to create a whole new character. So they just said, okay, we're just gonna change one that would be close to being looking like a girl or being a girl, and they just made Andromeda Shun a girl just to make it way easier rather than coming with a whole new character. So the only point of difference will be that the outcome of the character is different. The relationship with the brother will be different. So now it might seem a little suggestive, and the dynamic between everyone else will be different. So now we can also probably have her being shit with the other knights or something if they decide to bring that in.
Well, two things. How about you just leave it as it is? How about that?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And two, thank goodness they didn't mess with the Lost Canvas, because so many of the bronze and silver knights were pretty.
Right.
You know, one was like, your face is so pretty. I can't wait to hit that face and mess it up. And they were very pretty, but they were, you know, they were fighting and battling.
Right.
And then you also had one of the knights that was the Dark Knights that was the one of sleep.
Right.
Who would change his form so he could look like whatever the person dreamt of and really wanted to see. But he chose the visage of a woman most of the time until they broke the spell.
Right.
So thank goodness they didn't mess with this, because they probably would have had a lot of these saints as women, which was unnecessary. They were men. So what? They were pretty men. So what? They had long hair and these extravagant costumes. So what?
Right.
Leave it alone. We love it.
They were still strong
as it is.
They were still strong. They could fight. Like, what was the problem?
Exactly.
And then there was another one which was confusing for so many people besides Andromeda, was the fact that it no longer takes place in a different time period. It had a fantasy setting. It was set in like the medieval times, or a little bit after that, and you see like the knights are still around even after that age has passed. And here it looks like it's taking place in modern day, and now there's this new subplot you can tell from the trailer where the government wants to capture the gold saint armor and I guess use the power. So now they've got military tanks and helicopters hunting down the saints. Like, they're trying to save the planet.
Guess what?
And you want the
Guess what? We don't want to see that. We can watch Transformers if we want to see that. You want to see it the way that it was originally designed and played out. Netflix, we love that you're bringing all these shows back. We love that you're getting creative and doing all these Netflix originals. We just ask that you don't mess up beloved characters. You have done it in a couple other series, which we won't mess with at this time. We're just going to talk about Saint Seiya. Yeah. Now, the best part of this trailer is actually the comments section.
Right? And everything, at the time of the trailer came out, from the time it came out, it had this barrage of comments from fans who were longtime viewers of the show and of the manga, and then they get to this reboot, the latest incarnation, and it's like a riot.
Now, the first one I'm going to say is
made by Marcos Dobie's 15, I think, and it says, "Why do you hate the anime, Netflix?"
And then the next one is really great by Rock Amali. What the heck did Netflix do? They just sucked out everything that made this anime great and replaced it with crappy 3D animation.
Oh my gosh! And then what else? We're so progressive. Now there's a girl on the team, also Netflix. We'll make Sean a girl because he wears pink and is emotional and sensitive. And we all know men can't do either of those. So of course he's gotta be a girl. But now Sean's a girl. We can't have her emotional and sensitive because that's so sexist. Now she's gotta be confident and sassy, and yeah, that technically isn't Sean anymore. Let's just roll with it, okay?
So, I mean, people feel really strongly about these changes. And one more, just for the road, and this is by Ciele Rosso. She says, I feel I'm watching a PS1 game, and well, I can't even say a word about Shun. Are you going to make Aphrodite a woman too? I'm asking so I can pull my eyes out before I watch that. Now, these comments are hilarious because they're just strong and vocal, and they're letting you know what they don't like. But in case any of you guys did not happen to read the interview with the Netflix
Yeah, the director
who he basically said, I know and I don't care. If you don't like it, don't watch it. So maybe you want to look up his email, or maybe you want to look up how to contact him on Twitter, and let him know just how you feel about if you don't like it, don't watch it. Okay, this is not Teen Titans Go. This is Saint Seiya. So you don't get to have the same liberties and laxities that they did making this, because they were the original creators and they chose to change those characters, which they had every right to because they created them. You didn't create the Saint Seiya characters, so you literally should not be messing with them.
No. At least when you do show like Voltron, at least you watch the show before you reboot it. At least when you do a reboot, it has to be where you at least saw what the original was. Okay, we can do even more with this. We can make it better. We can make it for a new generation that everyone can watch it. You don't go backwards in time and say, la, 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 la. I'm just going to write what I want. I'm going to change everybody, everywhere. I'm just going to revamp it. This is my show now. Instead of Thundercats Roar or Teen Titans Go.
Okay, couple more comments. One from McSmurf. So, you're saying that a gentle pacifist can't be manly? How aggressive of you.
Oh, gosh. And then another says, from Errol Osk, I think it's a stop 3D Netflix and stop troll.
And one of my favorites, and forgive me for the French, and it's from Garius, and he says, or she says, burn in hell, Netflix. I'll never watch this
Oh, gosh.
Okay, Netflix, I'm sorry. We just have to read these because some of them are beautiful and poetic, and how they're expressing their distaste and their displeasure in what you've done. And again, you've got some great stuff out there, but there comes a time when you've just got to know where to draw the line and not changing the characters, whether it's the sex, gender, race, whatever. And a lot of companies are doing this. We know DC's done it. We know Marvel's done it.
Right.
We know that Voltron successfully did it with Pidge, but they didn't change the character. They simply changed her from a boy to a girl with the exact same personality and everything of the original character.
Right.
And that is why it worked.
Right.
But you didn't do that with this character.
Yeah, because you kind of think like, well, you did it with Pidge. Like, well, that one works out. Well, why can't we turn this guy into a girl? Because you didn't do it right.
You didn't use the same formula.
Right, that's why. Because I know that's probably the argument is like, yeah, well, Pidge is a girl, and you didn't say that. They did it right. You didn't, obviously.
But you know what? The best formula is just leave it how it is.
Right.
How about that?
And then this is one. When I'm reading it, you're kind of thinking like, how can any of this get past production? How does this get past the ideas table? And it says, how can such a dumb character rewrite for Sean pass through all production stages all the way to the final product? No one said along the line, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we should just stick with that. Well, no one suggested this.
It's possible they did. And you know what? The director said, I don't care. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Because that's how he feels. So, what we're going to have to do is wait to see this new reboot air. And yes, we are going to watch at least a few episodes to see if it's something we're going to continue, or we may just watch the entire series so that we can sit and we can make a podcast where you can make all these wonderful comments like you're making on this video.
Right.
Because we love your honesty and we love your comments, and we just can't wait to read more.
Yeah.
So, if you are an original viewer of the Saint Seiya series from the 80s, please leave some comments below and let us know how you feel about this reboot, what you don't like about it, and what you love about the original series. We can't wait to hear from you. We're waiting.
Yes, you love to read those comments. Oh my gosh. And I know since it's getting closer to it coming out, there's definitely going to be a lot more that's being shown and more changes to come. So let's see what you got to say even after that.
And by the time this airs, we will have purchased the Saint Seiya 80 series and done a podcast on it, so we can be up to date in having watched both versions of the series.
Right. So thank you so much for watching, and look forward to seeing you when this new atrocity airs. I'm Masculine Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.
flashing lights. Trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Met her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket. Give it to you later on in the form of a locket.